talk about engagement, we talk about the war on terror, but we do it in an open, engaging way that we are unified. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for your Texas roots.
Yep.
We appreciate the fact that you are on the move and moving forward on the many things that we're attempting to do. So let me try to reaffirm my understanding of the vigorous debate and challenges that are being raised in Pakistan today. Just about a few days ago in Houston, I met with the foreign minister who was on travels here, and we had conversations there. We are constantly engaged with both leadership and others around the challenges that your native land has. As you are well aware, you read the papers and know that we've been facing a series of 5, 6, 7 terrorist acts over the last couple of days. Very challenging. When you take over the military headquarters in Rawalpindi, you are being challenged. When you take over and have UN offices that now are closed and a number of UN officials killed, you have a challenge. When you're killing police officers through terrorist activities, you have a challenge. But we must face them together. And my comments about democracy is that I recognize that it is important to be able to address the question of democracy by debating whether or not the Kerry Bill is a bill for you. I would argue that it is not only the Kerry bill, but it is the House of Representatives bill that was passed by those of us in the Foreign Affairs Committee and those of us that worked with Chairman Berman to provide the underpinnings of a bill that was then worked on by the Senate, our dear friends. So I know that the bill has many great assets in it, including the $1.5 billion assistance that we want to see grow. It is the underpinnings for the RAS, which I think is so important, those regional zones that will help us in trade. No, we did not get that provision in. We added it in the House. It did not survive on the Senate side. But we're not going to give up. We're going to continue to work with CEOs and business persons like yourself to make it clear that as an equal partner with us, as someone who is our ally, both from our friendship but also from necessity, that we also have the opportunity to build economically, to build the businesses in Pakistan, to encourage trade by individual businesses here in the United States. And I would offer to say that that should be part of our effort, that even though that did not pass, this bill is waiting for the President's signature, that we should also include and work on having trade missions of Americans and Pakistani Americans traveling to Pakistan. Of course, I know that there are certain travel warnings, but I believe that we could get a very vibrant, as some of you have already done, group to be able to travel with us. So I want to emphasize again the importance of the bilateral relationship. I want to make sure that this bill is not maligned, and that if you have email capacity, that you're sending emails over and saying that this was done with good intentions. It was not done to stick it to our friends, or to stick it to the military, or to disrespect the military, meaning the Pakistani military. I know that they have given up the ultimate gift, if you will, their treasure in loss of life fighting the war on terror. There's no doubt in the last episode, where some 20+ died, that these individuals recognize that they are in a partnership in the war on terror. So let us not look with short-sightedness on the $1.5 billion a year that will come, and that will provide funding for democratic institutions such as Pakistan's parliament and judicial institutions with no strings attached. This particular assistance package will help bridge a sustainable U.S.-Pakistan partnership through an increased focus on public diplomacy and engagement. It authorizes a new exchange program for Pakistani civil servants and military officers in order to foster greater respect for and understanding of the principle of civilian rule in Pakistan's military. By building bridges to Pakistan and its people, the legislation is intended to provide a new, more positive framework for U.S.-Pakistan relations. I believe we should applaud what the military did as it relates to the SWAT territory, where so many have been able to go home. All is not perfect, but how resilient the people are, as I indicated in the debate on the floor of the House. How resilient the Pakistan people are to want to go home, to be able to want to go back and have their businesses and their shops open and their children going to school. That is extremely important. So my message today is that we who are here should read the bill and realize that conditionalities are enhancements. They are simply saying, let's have some benchmarks. We put benchmarks on ourselves. Let's see how we can measure ourselves in this war on terror. Let's see how we can measure ourselves with making sure that we have institutions in place that would emphasize democracy. Let's make sure that our military is in agreement and our security and intelligence forces are in agreement with the limitation on nuclear proliferation. Any of us who want our children to grow in a peaceful world should be joining in with that effort. This is not throwing darts. We're not condemning anyone. Those of us who support this bill are friends of Pakistan. We wouldn't do that. We're friends of parliamentarians who are over there. We have friends throughout the political structure over there in different parties. We're friends of the present administration. Some of you may agree or disagree, but we in government work with the present leadership who's there. So why would anybody write legislation to condemn friends? I think the point that we should work on is we should draw together to keep emphasizing the importance of this economic exchange, these reconstruction opportunity zones, and we have to work with you, both in terms of government opportunities here in the United States, doing business with the federal government, an enormously large entity that should be diversified in its business dealings as it is in its social, economic, and legislative dealings. Secondarily, I'm very glad and pleased with the Secretary of State, Secretary Hillary Clinton, working with President Obama in recognizing again the vitality and strength of this broad-based community and its economic wherewithal. So many of you know that we are putting together a Pakistan Development Fund that is continuing to organize, continuing to work and establish itself so that resources can go back to the people of Pakistan, to the NGOs, to the advocacy groups, to the groups who are promoting the education of young girls, to correcting some of the inequities with the rights of women in that area, to ensure religious freedom, to make sure that we're able to collaborate with building schools and hospitals, and being just a friend, run by Pakistani Americans, and certainly being successful on the basis of your leadership, not the government's leadership, not the U.S. government's leadership, but your leadership. I think that is a very positive step going forward. So I would hope that you would be supportive of that kind of effort, and as well, I hope that you will see in this new legislation something historic. There's never been a freestanding bill on the floor of the House now signed by the President of the United States that encompasses only the country of Pakistan. We have a phrase here, you may have heard it, and that the squeaky wheel is the one that gets the attention. Well, the early bird gets the worm. And what I would just make the argument is that we have such a vibrant population going from the East Coast to the West Coast, from the North to the South. I certainly will not take a back seat in terms of the vibrant Pakistani community in Texas. I know that those of you who are from Michigan will argue the point, or those of you from New York or California will argue the point. But that just simply says they're vibrant all over America. But the business community has to be the key voice that makes a difference. Let me say how proud I was to be able to nominate a Pakistani American doctor, may have been the only one, that joined the President on last Monday when he gathered doctors from around the world, around the nation, to stand up and talk about the importance of a healthcare reform package that includes a vigorous public option. My position with the Pakistan Caucus caused me to nominate that one doctor to be able to go to that White House meeting, which saw maybe 100 or less doctors from around the nation be engaged with the President, join with him on this whole question of a vigorous public option